begin here at 5 o'clock with new developments in Oregon's fight against COVID. The state's mask mandate is expanding again.
So beginning this Friday, masks will be required outdoors for events, even for people who are vaccinated fully against COVID. Devin Haskins joins us live in downtown Portland with a closer look at this mask mandate. Devin.
Yeah, the state's newest mask mandate starts Friday, as you said, and it's for people gathering from different households coming together in a large group. Now, it starts Friday, and it's just also the same day that the Oregon State Fair kicks off. The fair says that they will have signage up reminding people of the new requirement. Other large outdoor gatherings like concerts or games and the Timbers and Thorns are saying that they'll start this new mask mandate starting Wednesday for their next game with the Thorns. The mandate comes as hospitals are getting overwhelmed with COVID-19 patients. There are 1,000 COVID-19 patients in Oregon hospitals and only 7% of ICU beds were available. We talked to people downtown minutes after the governor's newest announcement.
I'm in it for the long run to do whatever the CDC says to keep people safe, but it's starting to get frustrating.
Well, if you don't have a good immune system, you really need to be wearing a mask indoors or outdoors. It's the healthiest thing to do for yourself.
My immediate reaction is that the virus is ridiculous. I'm so over it. We need to start doing some things to get it to stop bothering our lives. And if people wearing masks and getting vaccinated and all those things will help slow that down, then I'm in favor of it.
Now, this mandate does not apply to if you're just walking around down the street or maybe on a hike and you're kind of passing people in that sense, or it doesn't apply to your private household as well, although the OHA does recommend it, again, for large gatherings. And just like the indoor mask mandate, this mandate does not apply to those under the age of 5. Back to you.
Thank you, Devin. A superintendent in rural Benton County is responding to criticism following accusations he was coaching parents on how to dodge Governor Brown's mask mandates. Mark Thielman is the superintendent of the Alsea School District, southwest of Corvallis. He says he never told parents to lie so their kids wouldn't have to wear a mask. He just wanted to point out options. Thielman sent a letter to parents showing the governor's mandate explicitly states schools should continue to comply with the Americans with Disabilities Act. He says students who are unable to wear a mask due to the heat and reported breathing restrictions should request an accommodation plan. The letter even gained national attention.
And then they associated me with people who are genuinely flouting mask mandates, like I think it was somebody in Governor Louisiana or something. And I don't think that was fair because we're implementing the mandate. we're requiring masks.
Thielman says he expects about 10 to 15% of his students in his district to require accommodations. Classes in the district were supposed to start this week, but have been postponed until next week over COVID concerns.
We are about a month away from the start of the fall term, and many colleges in Oregon are requiring both staff and students to be fully vaccinated. As Joe Ranieri reports, the University of Oregon already has laid out a plan.
Before any student and staff member sets foot on campus for fall term at Oregon universities, they're going to have to prove they are fully vaccinated. At the University of Oregon, they just released this vaccination dashboard showing just how many staff members and students have reported their vaccination status. A spokesperson for the school says so far, 52% of students have reported their vaccination status. Of those students who have reported, more than 96% have been vaccinated. At Oregon State University,
our students are lining up to be vaccinated. They are participating in our vaccination requirement by complying to it, and I think outstanding numbers.
Steve Clark, who's the vice president of University Relations and Marketing, says they plan on having a dashboard system up and running in the next couple of days. He says the numbers he's seeing are already incredible.
19,504 students have complied with the vaccination requirement, and that is an outstanding total, and the numbers continue to grow.
And of those more than 19,000 students,
94% have attested that they have been vaccinated, so they have provided proof of vaccination. That's a remarkable participation rate.
At Portland State University, 6,000 students have been vaccinated so far, and school officials say they plan on having a plan just like U of O and OSU. Not only are they working on getting all of their students and staff to show proof, they've also been busy upgrading the buildings this summer.
What we have really focused on is upgrading our HVAC systems, making sure that the air circulation is great. We're certainly encouraging people to, distance as much as possible.
With about a month out from fall term, all 3 schools are after the same goal this year.
We are really excited and encouraged about getting students back into the classroom.
Joe Ranieri, KGW News.
While in the hospital, I had COVID, I had pneumonia, and 2 heart attacks, all caused by COVID.
A COVID survivor from Rogue River in Southern Oregon is urging people to get vaccinated after his horrific experience with the virus. Rick Fielder got COVID in July. He says at first it wasn't bad and thought it was just like the flu. He then started noticing symptoms. A week later, he was in the emergency room. He ended up spending a month in the hospital. Fielder previously survived esophageal cancer, but says COVID is worse.
I had a esophagectomy where they take your esophagus out and build a new one out of the top third of your stomach and hook it up. But COVID, way worse than that. Very confused, couldn't follow directions. My wife kept telling me to eat, and somehow that didn't sink in. I've never experienced anything like that.
Rick has now been home for a few days recovering. He's waiting to get vaccinated once he's medically cleared to do so. More and more places are requiring COVID vaccines for guests and customers, and that includes theaters in Portland for some shows. This weekend will be the first time in more than a year the Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall welcomes an audience inside. But as Catherine Cook reports, the return will come with new rules.
In downtown Portland, the stages are set.
This fall's probably going to be the happiest that we've been in a long time.
Soon, curtains will once again rise at the Keller Auditorium, Arlene Schnitzer Concert Hall, and the theaters within Hatfield Hall, a first since March 2020.
And seeing audiences walk through the doors for the first time is going to be hugely emotional. I'm going to bring plenty of Kleenex.
Robin Williams is executive director of Portland 5 Centers for the Arts. To protect against COVID-19, the venues are requiring audience members to provide proof of vaccination or a negative test within 48 hours of the show. Also, under the governor's current mandate, masks are required indoors.
We're just making sure that there's a plan in place so that everybody's safe.
The Schnitz reopens Saturday night with comedian Franco Escamilla. The Keller opens September 28th with Jesus Christ Superstar. Williams says it's a good idea to check for additional restrictions with each performance. For example, Oregon Ballet Theater. In October, kids under 12 won't be allowed to attend the ballet's performances of Face to Face. Williams hopes everyone who can will join them in the theater soon.
We can hardly get through a training without tearing up.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Employers are starting to make vaccine mandates too, and experts are warning those of you who quit or are fired for refusing likely will not be eligible for unemployment benefits. Now that the FDA has approved the Pfizer vaccine, employers can mandate it and can make it a condition for employment. But it could depend on a worker's unique situation. Religious, medical, and disability exemptions, they might play a role. And an employment law attorney says he expects to have some more calls to his office as workers seek some clarification to all of this, and offers this piece of advice.
If you want to maintain your job and you want to take the most safe course of action, it's to get vaccinated.
In Washington, October 18th is a deadline for state workers to get vaccinated or risk losing their job. This also applies to healthcare workers and school employees. In Oregon, K through 12 and healthcare workers also have to get vaccinated. During the pandemic, a lot of homeless camps put down roots around empty school buildings. But after more than a year of remote learning, kids are heading back to the class in person. And in at least one case, that means homeless campers have to go. Today, biohazard crews were out picking up trash at this camp near Sunnyside School in southeast Portland. They said that they'll be back tomorrow and clear it completely. In a statement to KGW, the city was pretty clear about this. Portland Public Schools resume classes next week, and the camp, quote, impedes transportation access for kids. Campers were upset and didn't want to talk to us, and advocates and neighbors gave us their takes.
A lot of them, when I talk to them, they understand they don't want to be around kids because they understand that kids are afraid of them or that kids might not or shouldn't have drugs, in their midst. Doesn't make it any less sad, though, because they don't really have anywhere to go.
Because every time you pack somebody up and you get rid of some of their belongings, they're a little further step away from moving on and getting some kind of other help elsewhere. Because it's really tragic to have all of your stuff sort of packed up and set away.
In a statement, a rep for Portland Public Schools called homelessness a humanitarian crisis and said they're working with the city and county to resume in-person classes safely. We asked the city about plans to clear other camps near schools, but we are yet to hear back.
Firefighters in Oregon are mourning the loss of one of their own. The Lane County Sheriff's Office confirmed a firefighter died after an accident. He was fighting the Gales Fire, which is part of the Middle Fork Complex fires burning east of Eugene. Dozens of firefighters, first responders, and law enforcement took part in a procession for the firefighter. He's identified as 56-year-old Frumencio Ruiz Carapia of Medford. Fire officials say a falling tree killed him. More than 500 fire personnel are battling the Gales Fire. The Middle Fork Complex fires have been burning since late July.